Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. The plan for today is look at two separate trees, the first of which you can already see here, which is a very small Ficus Microcarpa Ginseng, and we're going to work a little bit on those trees. In the case of this little Ficus Microcarpa, it actually means we're going to prune it a little bit back and then also look into wiring it. So the goal of this tree has been always to create a mame bonsai, so really a miniature version even of a bonsai, so a very confined pot, as you can see, very tiny, and to keep the tree as tiny as possible and really work then on an intricate branch structure. That is actually the point that has not happened yet. As you can see, we basically have two big branches here, a little bit of branching out down here, but that is actually all that has happened until now. So it's definitely time to work a little bit on this. And that of course also means at one point pruning back this tree, but also wiring it. And we will definitely start today with wiring those two branches out and creating a different structure on this tree. But in general, I feel it is a bit too long anyway before we really start to look into wiring it. So we prune this one back here. And on this side, I'm not quite sure yet how far I want to prune it back, because if I put it down here, we might leave this leaf on here, or we might even leave one leaf more on here. So if we prune only the tip back here, it leaves us a good amount of leaves. And by, of course, stunting the growth of all major growth points, because I don't see that much growth from this side, we should also see a lot of budding back on this tree. And of course, ramification then happening. So branching out, new branches creating on this tree. And those branches, of course, in the future will help us then with creating a nice structure. But as I said, I want to wire those two main branches a little bit down, because the branch here in the back is actually at a position where I'm quite happy with it. So it is growing quite vertically out here, but the other two definitely need some support and some guidance. And for that, of course, we will use wire. So let me just cut a piece of wire in the right length here. That should be enough if I measured it correctly. And then we will see how to best apply this. So I would probably go in from up here, but I would like to make my way once around the main trunk of this tree, just to give it the stabilization we actually need. So something like this. And then we make our way up this branch. So here would then simply go from underneath, making sure we don't trap any of the branches we can see here. It's a bit of a difficult spot to wire, I can see that already, because we're right here at this stump on the other side, and that is definitely not making it that easy. But I think we can apply this one here, then making sure we have enough pressure on here to actually move up this branch. The wire might be a little tad bit too short, but I think to just give it a direction, it should be enough. Let me see if I can still move it here a little bit. And let's see if that is actually enough to position it. So I would start with this part here, trying to wire this a little bit further down here, and then also spreading out this part here. I'm not sure this is perfectly holding, to be honest, but as it is a small tree, it is holding. But I see here we actually have a little side branch here. So if we move this actually in a different direction, it also opens up this little side branch here, which might allow us to work with this in the future. And let's see here still. The question is, do we cut this back even more now, thinking of it and seeing how long it still actually looks? I would actually go in here and do a bit more drastic cuts and really shorten this part here. Yeah, I think that is actually necessary to benefit this tree in the long term. The question is, do we even do the same thing here with this branch still? Because right now, it is a bit too long in my opinion. But we don't really have any growth we can cut back to, or all the way back here basically, but that is really a long way back. So the question is, are we fine with going all the way back here, or do we keep it a little bit longer? I think we go back. I think in the long term, this will actually help this tree. Let me also shorten the wire, of course, then still, because we don't really need this long wire then here. So this is probably gonna fly, so let me hold this. And that brings it to a very compact size again. We have one little leaf on here left, which I think is enough. And here we have this growth point that I'm trying now to wrap the wire around one more time, because we definitely do have enough wire for that now. And that will allow us to wire it out a little bit more here. And reposition the wire also here, because it has lost its position a little bit with all the cutting back. So now it looks more stable, definitely. And I think for now we can leave it at that. We really cut it back, so we decrease the height of this tree considerably. And it doesn't look like much now, because this is very much a work in progress. You can see, anyway, I need to, in the future, also reposition it a little bit here inside, lift it up a little bit the way I wanted. But for now, I want to focus rather on the foliage up here and just start some ramification on this tree to have something to work with in the future. I do like that the leaves we cut back to are quite small still in comparison to the ones we took out. So that is always good to, again, cut it back to smaller leaves, just to encourage also smaller leaf size in general on this tree. So this would be the first tree. Let me move that one to the side. And we move on right away to another tree in my collection that is definitely still in training. It is a Ficus Benjamina, as you can probably spot right away by the more elongated leaves that normally happen on a Ficus Benjamina, and also in general smaller leaves that can be seen on that variety. And right now you can see it doesn't really have any thickness yet. So that is the big thing I'm working on with this tree. And for that, usually I let it grow as high as possible. So you can already see, since the last time I worked on it, it probably almost doubled in size. So all of this here is new growth. And today I want to just take the moment to take a closer look at this tree again and decide in which direction we're actually taking it. Because even though we're letting it grow freely, the question is still the growth that is happening. Is it appealing to us or not? And I feel like most of it is appealing, especially all the way up till, well, I would say maybe here. And then the rest here, all that has formed new, I think I want to actually take that out and have other growth points still on it, where we will still let it grow wildly and freely. But I want to simply take it back a little bit here from the growth in the middle, because I do feel it gets a little bit too congested in here. So I would simply, with my garden shears today, go in here and take out the apex of this tree, basically, that has been growing for a couple of weeks now, or not even weeks, a couple of months actually. I haven't pruned this back since last growth season. And other than that, I feel like all of these little side branches that are growing quite nicely and are doing quite well, we will simply let grow here. So I don't think I will do much more on this tree, because as I said, I still want to have it growing freely, focusing a little bit more here on the side and not getting too congested, spreading the tree out a little bit, giving it simply this ability to spread out. And we do still have like growth in here that will fill out again in the future. But for now, I want this tree to get a little bit wider simply. And for that, we let those branches here on the side grow. They're doing quite well. As you can see, a lot of natural ramification happening on those branches. And that is, of course, what we also desire from them. And other than that, I think this tree is set up for the rest of growth season, because the really important point is to really thicken the trunk here, because right now it is just a stick in soil, and of course we want to change that. That's also why it's in a quite big pot for the size of the tree actually. There's enough room here for the roots to still grow, and of course that also then benefits the entire growth of this tree and the vigor of this tree. It is growing very well. It has had a growth spurt. I mean, you saw how much growth there has been on this tree. And I'm pretty sure it will continue to do so, but now again, focusing simply a little bit in the branches where we really want this growth to happen. And that is all for this tree. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope the trees that I showed you today are going in a direction which you can also see and approve of my vision for them. If you have any questions about these trees, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, of course, feel free to leave a like. And if you enjoy my channel, of course, also feel free to subscribe to it. Hopefully I will see you in the next video then. Until then, take care.